If you had asked me at 14 who my role model was, I wouldn't have had an answer. Kids around me had their dad, their coach, even celebrities like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Drake. But for me, I never had somebody who I idealized and wanted to be like. And something I've realized as I've gotten older is that it's so important for kids, especially young boys, to have had a role model to model themselves off of, to figure out what to do and what not to do. Because when I didn't have anybody to follow, I was just completely lost. I couldn't tell left from right. I had no idea what was wrong, what was good for me, what was bad for me. I've had to do a lot of experimenting with who I am in terms of what I find is real with me and what's fake to understand who I am as a man. And this is something that I think that a lot of guys have been struggling with because before we would live in a tribe where the older men would take the young boys to go out and like kill an elephant or something like that to make a young boy become a man. But we don't really have a lot of traditions anymore, except for the fact that apparently when we're 18, we're supposed to move out and enter the real world and go to school and work a 9 to 5 until we're dead and that's it. That's not really plausible anymore, and I don't think a lot of guys can even sustain that way of life. And there is still no guidance in that direction. And that is something that has really frustrated me with current culture where guys have been told that they need to figure their shit out on their own. And we're seen as the problem, apparently. But who is it that teaches us? There is absolutely nobody that I had that taught me how to be a man. And that's probably true for a lot of guys. And I can only think about how many lost and bad men there are out there that could have turned out to be good if they just had a little bit of support, if they had a little bit of guidance and had a role model that took interest in them, that wanted to see them grow to become a good man. I had my dad and my older brother growing up, but my dad was always busy with work, and he's a stereotypical immigrant father that I hear that a lot of other guys have, where they work hard. My dad worked really hard and still continues to work really hard, but he's not the best when it comes to talking about his emotions, when it comes to helping me understand where I am in my life and how I can become better. And my older brother was not somebody who I wanted to copy. He was not a strong role model for me. And what I picked up from that is that I have a lot of anti role models, people who I don't want to be, traits that I don't want to pick up. But while that might help me avoid certain paths, it doesn't show me the right path for me. And it doesn't show a lot of young men the path that they need to take when all they have around them are men that are unsupportive or aren't trying to guide them or aren't trying to help them. This leads to men just feeling really lost and really alone. And for a lot of my early 20s, I felt alone in the world. I had friends, I had people who cared and supported me. I had my mom, but I never had anybody who could help me. I never had anybody who could support me in the way that only an older man would know how a young man needs to be supported. I never knew how important it was for me to be physically fit, to be mentally strong, to build discipline, to be able to deal with hard things, because these were all things that nobody told me about. I had to figure this all out on my own. And while, yes, I got to this point now where I can be disciplined, where I can be strong, where I take care of my body, my health, my mind, nobody is out there telling a lot of these other young guys what to do. You hear a lot of advice that says just go to the gym, and there's influencers out there. But the thing is that it's so important to have that one-on-one interaction, because like, yes, I can listen to like some sort of influencer online, like Jordan Peterson has helped me a lot. But even still, they're not actively involved in my life. They aren't spending day to day with me. They don't know who I am. And so I can only take their advice as general knowledge that I can learn to implement. But they aren't really a father figure. They aren't really a older brother. They aren't really a model. They are just somebody who is outside of my life, who I can take knowledge from, but who ultimately doesn't know who I am. And young men really need that guidance, because otherwise they don't have anyone to look up to. And that's what turns so many men that could have been strong warriors and fathers or brothers to others into really sad, bitter, lonely people. And then they get blamed for it. They get blamed for it as if it's their fault that the world left them on their own and rejected them and gave them no support and guidance, and then told them, oh, be a man, learn to take care of yourself, learn to grow up. But they didn't have anybody out there who showed them how to do it. So how can we expect them to become strong when they never had a symbol of strength in their entire life to support them, to guide them, to be a role model for them? I'm lucky now that I have brothers that I can turn to, that can support me, that can offer me their time and presence. But in terms of my growth, it's for the most part been a lot on my own, of making mistakes and figuring it out. And I'm just so frustrated about it that that's the expectation for a lot of guys. I'm not really sure how to end this video, except that if you're a young guy out there who feels really lost and feels like the world is pressuring you to grow and be a man or learn how to act all of these things on your own, then it's just like, I feel it. Like, I feel it a lot now, because I'm 25, and all I can think about now is, what do I need to do to become successful, to be able to take care of my family, to be able to build myself into a competent man, when all of these things are new to me. I'm literally learning how to be a man, how to be an adult, as I'm literally growing up. And it's a strange time. It's a really strange time. And yeah, if you're out there, you're not alone.